Welcome to The Social Edit, where branding, content, and confidence collide. I'm your host, Sam Palmieri, and I'm a marketing strategist, personal branding hype girl, and a forever believer that social media should be simple, strategic, and actually fun. Each week, we'll dive into real strategies for building your brand, growing your business, and stepping into the most confident version of yourself, both online and off. Whether you're here for marketing tips, mindset shifts, or a little kick of motivation, you're in the right place. Let's get into today's episode.
Welcome back to The Social Edit. Today's episode is an absolute powerhouse. I'm sitting down with the magnetic Meisha Honore, realtor, life coach, brand strategist, and overall soul-led entrepreneur. We dive deep into the heart of personal branding, and not just as a marketing strategy, but as a reflection of your inner work, your energy, and your authenticity. From breaking into luxury real estate to navigating burnout, imposter syndrome, and finding alignment in both business and life, Meisha shares her real conversations most people shy away from. If you're a realtor wondering how to show up online, how to stand out without the overwhelm, and how to find confidence in your story, this episode is for you. Hit play, take notes, and prepare to feel seen, heard, and empowered. Let's get into it. So, welcome. Can you introduce yourself to our audience? Give us a little bit of backstory, how you got into real estate, into branding, into coaching.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So my name is Meisha Honore. I am a life coach. I got into real estate about going on 2 years ago after going through my own kind of trials and tribulations in finding housing. I actually got my real estate license wanting to start transitional housing for women who were needing a safe space after leaving domestic violence situations. And I just thought to myself, like, I want to learn all about investing. And then I got in the classes, fell in love with it, ended up saying, no, actually, I want my license because I want to do transactions. And I just ended up taking like a nosedive into the real estate world. Prior to that, I had my own wellness center. I was a doula, and I've been helping women and supporting women across all kinds of walks of life for at least over a decade now. And when I got into the real estate space, I felt like all of my gifts were starting to be highlighted in a way where I was talking and meeting with agents who were struggling to grow their brand, or I was seeing like gaps in where we were talking a lot about transactions or how to build certain aspects of the business, but we weren't talking about how to show up authentically as yourself, how to build a brand that's magnetic where you can then have these clients that you're looking for. And I just started using my voice and all of my past knowledge and growing my wellness center and growing my business. Everything that I've encountered as an entrepreneur over the last decade transitioned so easily into the real estate space. And I did a few transactions, and in the process of doing that, I just started falling back in love with being in that coaching seat, being able to really speak to agents and guide them and help them see themselves overcome confidence issues and things like that. And so now I'm here. I taught on Fast Forward. I did a brand presentation, and I connected with you, invited me on your show, and we're here.
And I'm so happy you are here. I think everything that you spoke about in the Fast Forward movement just really was like, this is everything that I'm teaching. And it's so nice to hear it from another human being who is so successful and doing all the things and seeing it working, that I was like, we need to have a chit chat to show everyone that what I'm saying is working.
Yes.
They just need to do it. And I love that. Like, you handle luxury, right? Like luxury transactions.
Yes. So
Perfect.
It's so funny. If you ask any of my friends, they will tell you I am the bougie friend. There is no part of my personality that does not exude a luxury presence.
I mean, listen, business class seats to EXPCon and Nobu, it fits the brand. So
yes. So, I think that luxury was a natural transition for me because, again, going back to that conversation of branding, right? So branding in itself isn't always just what you are saying. It's also in what you're doing, how you're showing up, how your audience and the people that know you, love you, watch you, resonate with you. And so when I talk about luxury, to me, it's not always about price. It's about quality. It's about comfort sometimes. When I started my wellness center, even the branding around that wellness center, I considered it to be a luxury brand, a luxury service. And like I said, all of my friends will tell you I am the queen of convenience. I'm the bougie friend. If y'all want to go do something and I don't feel like it's kind of like top tier, because that's what I feel like I deserve, that's the life I'm creating for myself, that's what I'm manifesting, then I won't do it. I feel like my personality and how I've already put myself out there over the years, again, when I got into real estate, it just made sense. It just made sense. And it was the easiest transition for me because even growing up, I loved watching like HGTV. I loved watching like Selling Sunset. Before I even knew I wanted to be in real estate, before I even knew I wanted to be in that space, I've always just been attracted to a certain level of service, a certain level of experience. And it honestly, it really just fell in my lap. And now we're here.
So I love that. And I think it takes you having your own level of self-confidence to think that and live your life like that. So how did you get to that level? Because I feel like so many times, especially whether you're an agent starting out, you're very timid, you're not sure of what's going on, you're not sure if you're doing it right, or just a human in general, like your confidence levels are not always there. You're not always feeling worthy or secure or whatever you want to say with that. So how did you embody this version of you?
Wow. You know, it didn't happen in one single moment or one single event. It has been a culmination of multiple life events and experiences that have shown me that I can quite literally do, be, or have anything I want in this world. And if I believe that I can create any life that I want, then why would I create a life around shame, around fear, around the things that don't feel good? I've gone on my own personal, I guess, like development journey. Some would call it like a spiritual journey, where I started taking intentional steps to invest in my healing. And this is beyond therapy too. So I've invested in life coaching. I've invested in things like mentors and a lot of spiritual avenues. So my background is also in mental health and psychology. So at one point I studied family constellation therapy in Germany, and I've done a lot of healing work on myself to overcome the negative beliefs that I had about myself. And that's not to say that I don't have moments of doubt and fear. It's not to say that I don't get embarrassed or that sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about. There are times where I can go do a presentation and I can kill it. And then the second I close my laptop, I'm like, what did I even say? You know, do I even belong here? Do these people think I'm crazy? You know, like I have the thoughts too. I just don't let the thoughts. And that's where the mindset work comes in. And that takes practice. I don't think you ever arrive at a point where now you're just perfect and you never have doubt and you never have any of these things. It's impossible. You're human. But for me, my confidence is directly tied to my tools, my daily practices, my ability to give myself grace when I don't know something or when I feel like I've messed it up, or even when I feel like I just need to cry for the day. I give myself that permission to do that. And I also give myself permission to get back up. And so just years and intention, literally focusing on myself and how I feel about myself and the life that I actually want to create, and not the life that maybe people said that I should have, what was expected of me from parents, from peers. And it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of shedding. But I am more committed to my inner work and following my path and my dreams than I am committed to any one career path, any one identity. As I said, I've been a doula, I'm a life coach, I'm a brand strategist, I do luxury, I do this, I do that. Like, I am not attached to a title. I'm committed to following at all times what I'm being called to and what makes me feel good.
I love that. I mean, I feel the same way. I think before moving to North Carolina, I was a NYPD cop. So complete 180 to what I'm doing now. And at the time, I was called to do that. Like I knew I wanted to be a cop. Law and Order is my favorite show. So I was like, I have to do it. And I think it drew me to that so I can meet my now husband and have our daughter, Emily. And then, there's this whole situation where he was supposed to be working in Harlem, and 2 weeks before that, I actually got him pulled and moved to Staten Island. And then 2 weeks later, ended up, unfortunately, two people that he worked with were were killed in the line of duty. And I just kept thinking to myself, that would have been him if this didn't happen. And then once we moved down here, I was like, you know what, I think I'm good. Like, I think I've served my purpose. I'm not gonna, tell myself that, I failed, or I'm not good enough to continue to be a cop, or I'm not cut out for it. And I just pivoted, and I've said, okay, well, what am I being called to do now? And I ended up going into some customer service job with property management, being promoted from there, but it all led me to marketing. I ultimately ended up doing that, and then from there I found this lovely home with Call Group, and now they're director of marketing, and I'm like, this is what I meant to do. I am in such a good space where I can wake up every day and I'm happy and I'm doing what I love with social media and branding and helping them figure out who they are, what they want to showcase to the world. I 100% agree. It's just, I'm not tied to anything. If something else comes down later down the line that's going to pivot a little bit again, that's what we do. We just keep pivoting because we're going to focus on the things that we're called to do, and everything is meant to happen when it's supposed to happen and how it's supposed to happen. And I am a huge, huge believer in that.
Yeah.
Do you have maybe a few tips for people who maybe aren't in this level yet where they're exuding this confidence like you, and where they should start to work their way to that point?
Yeah. So I think a lot of what you said is, I call them the breadcrumbs. It's the breadcrumbs of life. Going back to before I even started my wellness center, I was going to school to be a therapist, and I ended up getting sick with my middle daughter, having her prematurely, and she was 1 pound at birth, which led me to being a stay-at-home mom. That wasn't my path for myself, right? Like, I never saw myself being an entrepreneur. I never saw myself doing the things that I'm doing now. But life threw me these curveballs that were out of my control. And now when I look back, I see all these little breadcrumbs. Had I not started my wellness center, I would know absolutely nothing about business development and brand strategy, because I built that company from the ground up myself, and I built it because there was a need in the community, right? But when it came time to close it, I grieved. Like, there was grief. There was, everything, like you said, I could tell myself the story of, I failed, I didn't do this right, I didn't succeed. We can tell ourselves all the stories in the world, but at the end of the day, it's us that's creating that narrative, right? And so we get to choose. The advice that I would give someone is, you get to choose your thoughts. You get to choose the life that you want to pursue. You also get to choose when to put it down, when to pick it back up. And if you don't feel confident enough in your ability to pivot, to put the things down, or some stuff requires a lot of grief, then seek the support that you're looking for. Don't be afraid to hire a coach. If you're going to therapy and therapy ain't hitting, maybe you do need a life coach. Only you can make the changes that you want to see in your life. No one's going to do that for you. And I do believe that whatever you believe in, whether it's God, spirit, ancestors, whatever it is that you want to call this belief outside of yourself, you have to have faith in something outside of you, or you will tie your whole entire life, your whole entire meaning. You will put all that pressure on your own shoulders. You'll think you have to do everything in life by yourself, and that's simply not the case. So the very first step that I would take is I would do a really hard look in the mirror and ask myself one very clear and simple question, which is, am I living a life that I'm happy with? There is a creator on YouTube, I think her name is Grace, but she's a death doula, and she talks about dying. And I know this sounds a little bit morbid, but just follow me here. One of the things that I came across when she was having this conversation about dying, she had a near-death experience, and I too have had a few near-death experiences in my life. And she said, what do I need to do to live a full life and die gracefully, right? And when I think about that, I just think about how much time I could have wasted living a life that I was truly unhappy with, unfulfilled with. If you woke up today and you knew you only had 24 hours left, 48 hours left, are you at ease? Do you feel like, wow, no, I really feel like I was whole, I was present? If the answer to that is no, then it's time to start making some really radical shifts in your life. Because we don't know how much time we have to love ourselves, love our family, love the people around us. If you think that your happiness, your fulfillment is going to come, once you hit that corporate ladder, once you make the $1 million, once you launch the thing is, and this is something that I feel that my life has shown me, is every time I've hit, they're my kids, sorry. Every time I've hit a mountaintop of where I thought I wanted to be, or where I thought I needed to be, or where I thought was going to bring me the happiness, the joy, like now I can celebrate, it comes with its own thing. And the thing is like once you get the $1 million, you don't know who's not going to be with you anymore that you thought were going to be there. You don't know what parts of yourself you were going to have to shed in order to get there. You know, what I'm saying is you can't continue to live a life for anyone other than yourself. And to get to that point, you have to make strategic investments literally in yourself. So if that's a coach, if that's a guide, if that's getting the facial, even though you feel like you should be putting that money towards something else, but you know it's going to make you feel so radiant, you know that it's going to give you that little boost to then show up and say the thing. If you have to take your phone out and practice breaking up with that person because you know that they're not your person, but you're terrified of leaving because you don't know what this is going to say and you don't know what's going to happen with the kids. If you have to practice it, if you have to call a friend and say, I just need you to walk me through this, or I just need the reassurance, you know, it's quite literally you taking full control and responsibility of your life and making investments in either professionals or the people around you to help you navigate whatever that season is. I hope I answered that.
Yes, you did.
Long-winded, but
So
I hope I answered.
look in the mirror and
Look in the
ask
mirror.
yourself that question. I think that's a huge thing. And I hope whoever is listening, if they take one thing away, that's the thing that they take away, because I think that's the starting part to all of this.
Yeah.
So like as we're getting into this like real estate branding now, like you mentioned that brand presence today is more than energy and clarity than just visuals. Can you explain what that means for a realtor who's trying to stand out? How it's more than just their visuals, it's more than the Canva template, it's more than their logo and their fonts. Like, what does it truly embody to have a strong brand presence?
Yeah. So in today's market, we'll call it, I see this like in two different kind of avenues. One, there is an uptick of people, consumers, who are dying and searching for these authentic creators, we'll call them, right? Emotional storytelling. There's a reason, like, and you're in marketing, so I'm sure you've picked up on this. There's a reason why there's been an uptick in the way we market our businesses and companies. There's a reason why brands now have stories behind them, why founders are now on TikTok telling their behind the scenes story of why they started that brand, why they started that thing. I just watched a podcast episode yesterday with Emma Grede and the woman who started the Poppy soda. And she told her story, and she was doing all the TikTok dances, she was doing all the trends, but it wasn't until she got in the camera, barefaced, and just told her story, told her why, that it kind of like took off. Why is that? It's because as humans, we resonate with storytelling, and storytelling in itself is like an ancient art, right? Like if we look at all of these platforms and resources we have, we learn from the stories that other people tell, right? We learn from our elders who pass down wisdom. We learn from books we like to read, or podcast episodes like this. Like, we learn from storytelling. And if someone is telling you a story and you deeply resonate with it, that connection point is that there's a part of you that resonates with me and I see myself. Whether that's I see a future version of myself, I see a past version of myself, or maybe you sparked a part of me that I didn't even know was there or dormant. That authenticity cannot be curated. There's no amount of makeup, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with makeup. I love makeup. But there's no amount of perfection and perfectionism that can replace the authenticity that you have. You have your own unique stories and life experiences. And I always tell my clients, like, you were designed to light up your corner of the universe. So there are people that are directly connected to Meisha. There are clients that specifically have to work with me in this lifetime. Why? Because they were assigned to me. It's almost like a destiny. But they can't find me if I'm pretending to be Samantha, right? Like, they can't find the me if I'm pretending to be someone and something that I'm not. So there are a million agents in this world. There are tons of them. I forget what the ratio is. I know we've talked about this in Fast Forward of like how many agents the average person knows. But why do people buy from you? Why do people hire you? Why do people resonate with you? It is literally because of your voice, your values, your personality, your thoughts, the way that you articulate something. Literally, you can tell someone something and I can come behind them and tell them the same thing. And then Joe can come behind us and tell them the same thing. And guess what? We're all going to say the same thing in a different way. And it's going to resonate with someone that's listening on a different level for each of us. Why? Because again, there are just certain people that are assigned to us. And until we get comfortable radically being ourselves, we are not going to attract the community that wants to support us. And that's what it's all about. When you're building a brand, you are building a community. That community wants to show up for you. That community wants to support you. And thus, a byproduct of that is sales. That community wants to support you. They want to buy from you. Because you have a relationship with them, then they want to call you and say, hey, Meisha, I have a question about listing my house. One of my friends was laughing at me when I had posted that I was getting into real estate, not laughing at me, like making fun of me, but she was just laughing because she was like, there's nothing this woman can't do. We've watched her literally like pivot across all these different platforms and do all these different things, from speaking engagements to, you know, being in people's births to now like walking them to their first time buying their home. And she's like, the thing I admire about Meisha is that she can literally do anything. How that relates to branding is me always showing up and just sharing my story, where I'm at right now, what I'm doing with my life. I've attracted people who value my voice. And so when it came down to me announcing that I got my real estate license, literally there were some people that were like, oh, she does real estate now? Awesome, because I want to buy a house, because I want to sell my house, right? It didn't have anything to do with marketing a specific way, or how many times I posted, or how many times I posted my just listed. It had everything to do with the woman that I am. And so you have a unique signature that this world needs. And until you're comfortable with yourself, you can't magnetize the people that were designed to work with you. And you're going to attract people that test you. You're going to attract people that, I call it like hitting against a bruise. If you have a bruise of like low self-worth, or you don't exactly know how to speak up, guess what? This business is going to poke at that bruise, because you're going to get that client that wants to walk all over you, and you're not going to know how to set your boundaries, right? If you're attached to production and you think that your worth is tied to only producing, then when you have like an off season, you're going to feel worthless. You're going to forget who you are, right? And so all of this ties into what I was saying. Building a brand, standing out authentically, is directly tied to your own personal development. How much you invest in getting to know, like, and love yourself, and then allowing your community to also know, like, love, and trust you.
I love that. Because I preach the know, like, trust. So I'm going to write that. Know, like, love, you said?
I'm not sure. No, like,
we're going to go back. We're going to go back to it. I'm going to listen back to it.
Yeah.
But I love that. You should get a brand shirt that says that. No, like, love.
Yeah. Because, you know, it really is what it boils down to. My very, very first sale was my childhood best friend. And I would have again, that didn't come from me doing any kind of crazy marketing. It didn't come from me doing anything. It really just came from me, you know, sharing, obviously, that I got my real estate license. And I hadn't talked to her at the time, like, in a couple months. And she had hit me up and was like, hey, you got your license and me and my husband need to move. And I was like, bet.
There you go. And I think that's something that I preach to our agents too, like when they're first starting out, and, you know, a lot of them say like, oh, I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. I don't like social media because I don't know how to do it. Or I don't like marketing because I don't know what to say. There's nothing special about me. But I'm like, the fact that, for example, you're a mom, or that you're a single mom, and then you talk about that, I think pulling those personal details into your content pillars as you're trying to schedule out your content and figure this out is so big. Because what if there's another single mom that, you know, you're talking one day, you're like, you're breaking down, it's so hard to do this, you know, your kids have taken over the house and you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling anxious, you're doing all the things, and you're sharing that with your audience. Maybe there's another mom watching that can now relate to you, that now connects with you. And now, you know, come time, maybe not immediately, but maybe a few months down the line, she's like, oh yeah, we need to move into a bigger house or whatever it is. She's like, oh, that girl, she's a mom. I want to work with her because she gets where I am in life right now. She gets what I'm going through. She understands this side of me. And I think that's the biggest thing, is sharing those personal details with your life, because you don't know who it's going to resonate with.
Exactly.
And you're attracting the people you want, not someone who's, like you said, going to walk all over you and make you negotiate your stuff and whatnot. And yeah, so I love that. I'm getting that on a shirt. I will give it to you at EXPCon.
And like I said, it also comes back down to how you see yourself. You know, the person that says there's nothing special about me, you know, I would lean into that. Where did you learn that? Where did you learn that there was nothing special about you? Where did that come from? Where did you learn that you're not valuable as you are? Like I said, my best friend's deal was my very first transaction out the gate. She could have easily said, you know what? No, I want to deal with someone who has 50 sales under their belt or whatever, right? Like, and understand that there will be people who want that. They're not your people. If that's not the part that you're at, right? Like, there are going to be people that say, I want a realtor that has been in this game and done this for 20 years, and that is who I'm looking for. If you are not the realtor that's done it for 20 years, then you're obviously not that person's target audience. You're just not connected with them. But that does not mean that there's not someone else that goes, you know what, actually, I want to be her first. I want to be her testimony. I want to be, there's some people that don't care about that. And I even seen that. So this is a lesson that I learned in doula work. There are different companies that will encourage asking doulas how many births they've attended, right? And so you can say, I've attended 1 birth or I've attended 100. If you have ever given birth to children, anyone listening, I have 3. Every single last one of my births were uniquely different. Every single birth that I've attended over 6 years, I've never seen a birth that looked exactly the same. There are definitely, I'll call them milestone points, that are parallel, that are similar, right? But there's nothing that's completely identical start to finish. And that's the same thing with real estate transactions. You learn the flow, you learn the process of it, but each experience with each client is going to be different. So I don't care if I've done 1 sale or if I've done 50, because sale 25 is not going to look like sale 5. There's still going to be something that I can learn at sale 105. There's no way that I have possibly learned every single thing that I could have possibly learned in this world. If that's the case, then there's no such thing as growth. Even our top producers are still asking questions. They are still learning. They are forever students, right? And so what are the real questions we need to ask? Do you have a supportive community that can back you? Do you know where to find the answers if you don't have an answer for a client? And more importantly, do you trust yourself to seek out the answers that you need if you don't have them? It's not about being perfect. It's not about doing 11 transactions. It's about, do I trust myself to not only guide my client to the best of my ability, but if there comes a point where I don't know something or I need help, I need support, do I have the network around me? Do I have the coaches around me? Do I have the friends around me? Do I have the brokers around me? Am I in the right environment where I cannot fail? I literally can't fail. It's impossible. I have way too many resources. I have way too many outlets, and nothing is ever a failure. It is always a lesson. So if something happened in that transaction where it went sideways, guess what? I was meant to learn it then. Because again, when I'm at my 20th transaction, well, where do you think that knowledge came from? These people who have done hundreds of transactions, where do you think they're getting their wisdom from? The person who's done that volume was a beginner somewhere. Someone was their very first transaction. Yeah. You know, so you can't get caught up in that kind of thing. And you shouldn't get caught up asking people, you know, well, how many have you done? And, you know, what is it? Sometimes that doesn't matter. It's all about energy. It's all about your essence. And again, it goes back to like your confidence, your environment, and making sure that you're placed. If you're an agent right now listening to this and you look around and you go, well, that's my problem. My problem is that when I'm fumbling, I don't have anywhere to look. When I'm fumbling the ball, or I don't understand this, or I really messed this up on this contract, I don't have a compliance team. I don't have a broker that's going to look over my work. Guess what? Maybe it's time to get in a new environment. You know, if you don't have the support to thrive and soar, you need to look at your environment.
And I think that's a good thought on like why a lot of agents aren't seeing the success they want to see, immediately. Like, I feel like, and again, you can do it each way. I've seen success both ways, but I truly believe in a team mentality because you are surrounded by people that are doing the same exact thing with you day in and day out. And I think I love here at Call Group, we have masterminds like almost every day. We have a listing one, we have a marketing one, we have market updates where we come in every team meeting. We have a collab corner where agents are sending us questions or bringing up topics that they're seeing that are happening, and they're all just helping each other and saying, oh, well, try it this way, I use this word track and this seems to do really well, or, oh, you know, I saw that too this weekend, this is what I did with it. And just coming together and being so collaborative and surrounding yourself with supportive people. And I also think it goes into, you know, that whole thing, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. If you don't want to be like the 5 people that are closest to you, get out of that circle. Go find another circle. And I'll say that's been like the biggest mindset shift for me now, like coming into Call Group, moving to where I am now, finding my gym community, finding my church community. I have never felt so like there is no bobbing and weaving right now for me. Like, I am on track, I am following the plan, and I know that I am, if I fumble or if I whatever, there's someone there that's going to pick me up. There's going to be someone there that's like, okay, keep going, I got you, and like help me and lead me along the way and support me and show me how much, remind me of my worth. Rather than someone who's like, you're on your own, boo, I'm good. Like,
yeah. And it's
so
that
I think
individual, it's the way that society praises hyper independence. You know, and we can go into a whole conversation about what I think about feminine energy, what I think
well, listen,
about
this is about to be a
think about community. Like, that's a whole nother chat. And when I gave that presentation, even in Fast Forward, I was like, listen, this thing can go so many different ways, right? But truly, this idea that we were meant to create and prosper on our own is killing people, right? Like, even outside of the real estate space, like you just said, and I think you painted a beautiful picture for people. You don't just have a community around your business, right? You said you have your church family, you have your gym family. To me, I'm hearing you have faith, you have hobbies. That is a holistic way of life. You are living a fulfilled life. You said, I'm still across all my platforms. What I hear is, I have peace. I have inner peace, right? Because again, it has to do with, are you living the life of your dreams? Are you truly fulfilled? Some people focus so hard on their career that they let their relationships die. And guess what? Again, if you get terribly sick, you think we're sitting around that hospital bed going, oh my God, but she did millions in transactions. She was so awesome. You show me the tombstone that says top 1%. No one cares. No one cares. And so you have to find a deeper meaning to your life. You cannot just chase the money. The money will naturally come if you're in alignment with a purpose of some sort. And when you find that, when you find your community, when you find wholeness, when you have a balanced life, somewhat, because I don't think that we're ever like perfectly in balance. Shonda Rhimes said, like, you know, as a single mom, if you ever see me like thriving in my business, understand that like there might have been a recital that I missed, and vice versa. If I'm showing up for my kids, understand that I might have dropped the ball on writing this script. It's no different for any of us. Emma Grede speaks about the same thing, where she says no one ever asks men how they do work-life balance, but they ask women that all the time. There is no perfect formula to it, but you can cultivate environments around yourself where you feel seen. And that is what I was pulling from what you said. You are in spaces where you feel so seen and held that you know that if you need a minute to cry, if you have a question, you have spaces that are safe enough for you to go to and not have all the answers, not have it all put together. And truly, that is what we should be seeking to create, you know? And so, again, it keeps going back to my philosophy of this whole conversation, which is, if you are not looking at your life and doing the inner work and focusing on your personal development just as much as you're focused on building your business and building these other pillars or silos of your life, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel fulfilled.
So what kind of tips would you, or like an exercise or maybe even a journaling prompt, could someone use to clarify their brand vision or their voice or their unique energy? Like, what can they do to figure out what's special about them?
So when I'm getting ready to do a brand strategy for one of my clients, we always start with homework. And this homework is, I think it's a little kind of non-traditional in a way, because I don't just look at like, what are your favorite colors and, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's not that. One of the first things I have my clients do is I have them go to about 5 or 6 different friends or people in their spaces. And don't you go to your mama, and don't you go to your husband or wife. I need some people that are in your circle, but removed enough from you. And like I said, usually I ask for like 5 or 6. So fine. If you want like your spouse to be one person because you want someone super close to you, that's fine. But don't have it be so many people that are so enmeshed with your everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And ask them, what's one word that comes to mind when you hear my name? If I walked in a room and I was given a speech on stage, what do you think it would be? Ask the people around you what they think about you.
I love that.
Like that's literally the first part of our homework, because when I'm developing a brand strategy for someone, and I do this not just for agents, I do it for just entrepreneurs, creatives. I don't want to just hear what you think of yourself and what you think the brand should be. I like to get the perspective of those around you, because oftentimes we can't see ourselves. We cannot see ourselves. Was literally listening to something yesterday, and he was like, a tiger don't see its stripes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see you fully. Do you have people around you that you even trust their judgment and how they see you?
I think that's the biggest thing is figuring out who's in your circle. Are they supporting you, or are they secretly behind your back, like waiting on your downfall? Like really coming and doing a hard look at who you're surrounding yourself with is a huge thing.
Yes. And not just who you're surrounding yourself with, but also what are you consuming? Like, what are you pouring into yourself? So, for example, on your Instagram, if you are, I don't know, terrified of turtles, and you continue to watch content that validates the fear that turtles are so dangerous, they're going to snap your finger off, they're the worst thing ever. If you continue to fill your feed with that, well, it's going to continue to validate your thinking, which is that turtles are no good.
Yeah.
But somewhere in the same reality, what we call a parallel reality, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this, Abraham Hicks talks about this, somewhere is another reality where turtles are the best thing in the world, where someone loves them. They've adopted 100 of them, and we should probably put them on like My Strange Addiction, right? Like, for every fear you have, and for every doubt you have, and for every thing you have, there is an equal and opposite. So it's up to you to determine which one you want to feed yourself. So when people say, like, even when you hear clients that are saying like, oh, well, this is a terrible time to buy a house, the market is awful, everything is going wrong, nobody can afford that, the price of eggs are ridiculous, and no one can afford this, and no one can do that. And you know what I say to that? It's impossible. There's 1 billion people on this planet. It does not mean that there's not a reality where people can't afford things, but it does mean that there's a parallel reality where people can. And so even when it comes to marketing my business, I talk to buyers and sellers who are ready, willing, and able. These people want to work with me. They trust my judgment. They are ready. They have the funds. Or if they don't have the funds, they're resourceful. They're going to come, because that is just what is meant to happen. And when you focus yourself too much and you fill your reality, your Instagram feed, your Facebook messages, when you fill it with junk that validates everything that you want to believe, whether good or bad, that's what you're going to see out in the world, right? Like if you keep saying, I can't do something, and then you're watching videos that affirm that you can't do it, well, guess what? Your reality is going to show you how you can. It's up to you to change that narrative. Oh, it's up to you to make that kind of pivot in your life.
Yeah. Have you read the book, The Gap and the Gain?
No.
Oh my God. Girl, you need to read it. So this is almost exactly what you're saying. One of my last episodes was on this book, and it's basically like there are 2 ways of thinking. You can live in the gap, or you can live in the gain. The gap is where you're always judging yourself, comparing yourself to someone else. When I get a house, I'll be doing this. When I do this, when I hit 10 million like this person, or when I hit the top 1%, then you're always comparing yourself against someone else, where if you switch that mindset and you start to say, oh, I'm living in the gain. Okay, I sold 5 homes this year. Wow.
I only sold one home last year, so that's amazing. And it's all focused on you versus you and comparing to where you've been to where you are now rather than comparing yourself to others. So what I just did recently is I went through my social media, and any person that I was like, I find myself comparing my body to them, or I find myself comparing my branding to them, or any kind of comparison, unfollowed. If it's someone where like, oh, like a mean girl from high school, unfollowed. I don't need to be anxious about them seeing what I'm posting, because it's my life, it's my brand, it's my business, this is what I love doing, and I'm not going to let anybody and the realistic thing is that no one is thinking these things. It's all made up in your head. They're too busy living their own lives to be worrying about you. Someone that they knew 10, 15 years ago in high school, I guarantee you they're not going to judge you. And I think there's a lot of that's a big reason that a lot of people stray away from social media, because they're so worried about being cringe and being judged for what they post that they're not doing it. But I keep telling them, okay, well, are they going to work with you? Or are you going to find someone that's going to work with you based on this video that you just posted? Like, what's going to pay the bills at the end of the day? You're worrying about them? Are they paying your bills? No. So do the things that are going to get you closer to your goals. And highly recommend that book. It is fantastic. It's like literally one of my favorite books.
Yeah. Well, that in itself is one, you're cleaning up your environment. Like, your social media is a part of your environment. It's like sitting in a dirty house, uninspired, and wondering why you don't feel clean or, excited. And delegation, like delegate. If you don't have the capacity to hold it all, you don't have the capacity to clean, to cook, to do things, figure out how you can delegate those things. If you're saying, well, I don't have the money to delegate those things. Okay, so then who's in your circle that you can lean on that can maybe help you out until you can, because the more you clean up your life and your space in that way, the more you make room for what wants to find you, the more you make room for creativity. And you don't have to, if Instagram is not your platform, and I will die on this hill, if Instagram is not your platform, get off of it. I keep telling people this.
Accurate.
Everyone is like so obsessed with needing to be on Instagram. And I'm like, if Instagram is not your platform, go to another platform, do something else. Right?
Yeah.
What matters most is that you're in alignment with what feels good to you. And if there's some, again, inner work that you have to do around Instagram where you're like, no, I would like Instagram if I didn't think I was going to be judged, or if I didn't think I was going to be cringe. Okay. So again, can we go into that personal development space? That's a wound that needs to be healed. And sometimes it's not a surface level of like, just tell yourself you don't care. Right? Like, no, sometimes we have imprints in our body that have to be released, that have to be understood. Sometimes you don't even know where you got this thing from, which again, that's why it can help to work with a mentor, work with a life coach, work with a professional in whatever thing you're struggling with, who can actually be a mirror for you and show you where that stuff is coming from, or help guide you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what you're saying is just, you're cleaning up your life. You're cleaning up the environments you're putting yourself in, and all of that has to do with your levels of productivity. It has to do with how you see yourself, how you value yourself. And like I said, in all the brand strategy sessions that I start with, I have my clients go do some homework, and that homework is a deep dive into them as a person. Before we touch any kind of like, what should I post, or what platform should I post on, I have to get to know the essence of you. And the best way to do that is by looking at who you say you are, who you think you are, and who the people around you say you are. If you go look at my reviews on Google, I don't even know if you can see this. So fun fact, on Google, on your Google reviews, there's like a little section that tells you like your top words that are used. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but like,
I haven't seen that.
It tells you like the top, I guess like words that are used amongst all of your reviews.
Yeah.
And so like some of mine, I know one of them is like compassionate.
Wow.
That's like one of the biggest words that are there. So like, if you've been someone who has like a lot of Google reviews, or have been in like business, go back and read them. Read what people are saying about you.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes
I think it's a great idea.
Biggest bully is ourselves.
And it's also nice, like, even if, like, you get a text message from someone, like a client, like, thanking you for helping them with something, like, take a screenshot of it and put it in, like, a folder on your phone. That way, when you're having one of these bad days, you're feeling down on yourself, or you're thinking you're not worthy, go through those and be like, wow, I helped all these people. This is what these people had to say about me. Okay, I guess I'm not as bad as I think. I think that's a huge thing. And I love that you talked about alignment. So, what does having marketing that's aligned with you look like?
The way I would describe it is first by like breaking down to the audience and the people that are listening to this, understanding the difference between branding and marketing. So branding is your unique essence. It's why people say yes to you. Your marketing is how you are then able to give that message out in the world, right? So like my brand is around spirituality, luxury. Someone would say that I'm compassionate. Those are all like key words for my brand, for myself. And those things aren't necessarily curated. I didn't go and, look at a list and go, which one do I want? I'm gonna take this one, right? Like it's an embodiment of who I am. And then marketing is the platforms in which you are using to then put yourself out in the world, i.e. your Instagrams, your social media platforms, books. Maybe you wrote a book. Substack is somewhere where you can write blogs, your website. So how do you find a marketing strategy that is aligned with you and your brand? It's understanding where your target audience is and what are their habits, kind of getting inside of their brain, right? Like, where do people find a Meisha? Where do people find a Samantha, right? Like, for example, high-end clientele, if you're dealing with clients who probably want to sell, say, a $5 million property, what are the odds that they're looking for a professional from Instagram? And don't kill me when I say that, guys. Like, do not, more comments, do not come for me.
No, it's accurate.
I'm being really practical because really think about that. Most of the time when you have a high value property like that, where do they go to first? They're not picking up their phone and going, damn, I need a realtor. Let me get on Instagram and find one. They're looking shoulder to shoulder. They're looking in their network. They either know someone who sold them their house. They know the neighbor. Like they're pulling on a network, right? So in order to market to a high-end individual, I have to be in their sphere. I have to be in the environments that they're in, right? I have to be in their circle. So my marketing for something like that may not look like a post on Instagram. It may look like signing up to be a part of that country club. It may look like going to that DC mixer. You get what I mean? You have to get into the psychology behind sales. You have to get into the mind of where your ideal audience is in order to market them. If you are, for example, marketing your services, say we'll take it off of luxury. Let's say you're trying to market your services to people who are burnt out from social media, right? Like, or let's say an older demographic. We can say that, right?
Yeah.
Let's say if your target audience are going to be downsizers, right? Okay, where do you think those people are? And this is going to vary from literally state to state, town to town. It just all depends. But the point that I'm making is you have to understand who it is that you're talking to, who your ideal client is, how you personally resonate with them, how you relate to them, and then where you would actually find them. For some people, you might find your ideal client at the gym. For some people, you might find your ideal client on Instagram. That might be your intention to grow and scale on there. And we know agents that have wild success doing this. We know agents that have wild success on YouTube. But the point is that they got clear on not only who their ideal buyer is, and when I say buyer, I don't just mean buying a house. This is for anything in sales, anything that you're selling. So your coaching, your digital products, anything. You have to understand where your buyer is, but then you also have to align that with what feels good to you. Because if you are trying to force yourself on a platform that you do not like, you don't enjoy, you're not creating from joy, then you are dimming down your magnetism and everyone can feel it, right? It's like that, you go to that restaurant and you can tell that server is pissed off and they had a shitty day and they really don't want to serve your table. You can feel that energy. We can feel when you're lit up. right? Like, I hope everyone watching this podcast, they probably know and see, like, I love this. This is my jam. I love these kinds of conversations. You can feel my passion. You can feel that these are my kinds of platforms to show up on. If I sat here and tried to create the same exact video on a platform that I just did not feel comfortable with, you're not going to see me light up. The words are not going to flow as easy. I'm going to second guess because I don't personally feel comfortable in my own body. And so those are the two things that go hand in hand. You have to understand where your buyers are. You have to understand where your market is, your demographic is, and you have to feel comfortable on that platform and how it lights you up. Even if the platform is grassroots marketing, maybe there are some people that still like door knocking, or they like sending out posters or flyers. Like, find the thing that will bring you joy and figure out how to connect with the people that you're trying to talk to through the thing that brings you joy. Maybe it's cooking.
Is there that saying that it's like, if you're for everyone, you're really for no one?
Yes.
And if you try to please everyone, there's not much. And I think about this so much. Like, I'm a theater kid, so thinking about Hamilton, and when Burr was just saying what he wanted just to get people's votes and like get people to like him and everything, and then he ended up losing because no one could trust him, because no one knew what he actually stood for, what he was about. So I think that's my little theater plug-in right there.
Well, you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to walk away from the things that are not aligned for you and won't work for you, because you never want to sell from desperation. That's not a good energy to be in. And honestly, it's not a good energy to receive, when you're constantly posting or acting or reacting, I would say, from that space of desperation of being like, pick me, please. I really need a sale. Please, everybody help me. I'm just going to post anything because I'm so desperate. Like, what kind of person you think is going to work with you? What kind of energy are you calling in? Right? Because I would assume that the person then that does pick me, they're going to go, oh my God, that poor girl.
Yeah. And then I think at that point, you're then opening yourself up to negotiating on your value. So if you're so desperate for a sale or whatever it is, a client, and you say, this is what I charge in my real estate deals, and you are so desperate that you are going to now cut your value in half. You're still doing the same amount of work, but who's to say you're not going to cut yourself out of that? And I think that leads to a lot of burnout. And I think you have to live in this abundance mindset. And just when you live in that sort of vibe, you're attracting it. You know that there's so much out there for everybody. And that's when you're able to contribute to a team as well, because you're not comparing yourself to, Emily has 21 deals pending right now and I have nothing. What am I doing wrong? Or I'm so jealous of her or whatever. You're open to more collaboration. You could like, okay, what can I learn from her? Like, what is she doing right? What can I sort of take and incorporate it into my life and sort of tweak it to make it more on brand for me to do? What can I learn? And you're always in that same thing, that learning mindset. What would you say, like, if an agent is facing burnout, how do they, especially when it comes to maybe their marketing or social media, how do they get over it?
You don't get over it, you get through it by putting it down. So when I got into the real estate space, I'm still in the process of recovering from some burnout. And my burnout wasn't necessarily specifically because of real estate, but I had a series of personal life events that took me through some grief. It took me through a lot of inner transformation, and it has been exhausting. And you have to give yourself space to pour into yourself so then you can show up and pour from a full cup for others. And I didn't realize this at first. So again, when I showed up to the space, I was already burnt out, and I was in this mindset at the time. I was in a hustle mindset at the time where I was just like, okay, now that I've decided that I got this license and now that I've made the switch to EXP, like, I need to do this, I need to do this. This is how many deals I'm going to close. I see my sponsor, she's incredible. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to follow the playbook. I'm going to do the thing. And every time I went to do something, it was like the exhaustion was smacking me in the face again and again and again. So much so that I started to have like what some people call like brain fog, where I was hiring a videographer to film me, speaking to the camera and doing these things because I had this vision. And then I'm sitting in front of him and I'm like, I quite literally can't think. Like, I literally, like, the words are not coming out of my mouth, right?
Yeah.
So my health was at risk. I wasn't being kind to myself. And truthfully, you can't build from that space. It's impossible. It's damn near impossible. You can't, because you can't think clear enough to even make strategic decisions for yourself or your business, right? So, and the business doesn't run without you. When you were asking about like marketing, understand that you are your walking billboard. It's you. No matter where you go, gym, the pool, it's you at all times. You never know when you're going to be having an authentic conversation with someone and they just so happen to bring something up, or that leads to the conversation of you being in real estate and you making a new friend, you making a new friend, right? The woman that looks depleted and pissed off with life. I'm sorry. I'm not chit-chatting with her. I'm not feeling networky with her. It's not gonna happen. You know, so how do you get over burnout? You don't get over it. It's not something that you go, you know what, I just gotta hunker down and try harder. If you are burnt out, that means that your system is not set up for you to thrive. And so you have to put it down. You have to take the time to literally recover and rehab. Think of it as any other, think of it like your body parts, right? If you broke your leg, you can't just get up and decide tomorrow, well, F it, I got this cast on, but I'm still gonna run the marathon. Like, it don't work.
Yeah.
You're gonna hurt yourself, right? And I think sometimes with burnout, because a lot of it can be mental, you don't realize that you are still hurting yourself. Your brain is still a part of your body, you know? So it's almost like that thing of with mental health. Like, we think because we can't see depression or we can't see anxiety, we can't see these things, that they're less harmful, but they're actually more harmful because we can't physically see it with our eyes, you know? So you have to put it all down and you have to allow yourself to pause, and then you have to go into rehab mode. What do I need at this point in time for me? Sometimes it's a cry, sometimes it's a week off, sometimes it's 2 weeks off. Sometimes it's a pivot in career. Sometimes it's calling on support. You may need to pick up the phone and call that best friend and be like, girl, I'm completely losing it. Please, just for today, can you come sit with me? Can you come sit with the kids? It might look like, if you have parents that are supportive, I know I don't want to leave my baby. I know I don't want to leave my kids. I'm going to miss them. But I literally need to leave them here for 3 days, and I need to just be at home by myself in complete silence. Like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Those kids are not going to remember the freaking 3 days. They're not. They're literally not.
And it's better for you to do that than for you to continue to live like that and then, you know, either take it out on your partner, take it out on your family, take it out on your kids, because you're getting so burnt out that then you're getting frustrated. And it's going to keep getting worse. So it's better to take a step back before more damage is done moving forward.
And this is something else. You know, if you're in a place where, because I'm not going to sit here and say that money does not drive a lot of this, because it does. At least it has for me. There's been so many times where I said, I can't stop. I am quite literally a single mom of 3. And I've told myself the lie that if I stop for a moment, their livelihood is in my hands. If I don't work, I can't pay bills here. If I don't do something, then their well-being is on the line. That is a story that I told myself. And to a certain extent, the story is true. But what I was failing to realize is, well, guess what? If you're hospitalized, those bills still won't get paid. You're still not going to be working, right?
Yeah.
If something tragic happened to me today, we would be in the same spot. So where can I be brave enough to ask for the support that I need, even if that support is financial? You know, where can I stop trying to be the rescue to myself all the time? Where can I ask for help? Where can I say, guys, I don't have it all together. I need $100 to pay my bill this month. And who can you turn to? And again, if you sit here and you tell me I have absolutely no one, Meisha, I have no one in this world, then guess what? It's time for you to tap into that source, like I said, that is outside of yourself. That's the whole point. You have to have some sort of belief in something bigger than you. And sometimes in my life, in my personal walk, I didn't have anyone. There were so many times where I called the best friend, I've called my mom, I've called my dad. They did not have the money, they did not have the resources, they could not help me. And God still showed up. The thing still happened. And there are so many times in my life where I can go into stories of miracles, literally for me, that taught me that I am never alone, that it was never my job to have it all figured out in this world. And like I said, I'm more of a I guess you can call it like a spiritualist. I don't necessarily practice any one religion, but I do think that just using the word the universe, God, is pretty universal term for all of us to understand. Miracles do happen, but they don't happen when you are trying so hard to prove that it can't happen for you. So if you are in a space where you are burnt out right now and you are listening to this and you feel like your world is falling apart and you've looked to the left and you look to the right and you feel like no one's coming to save you, nothing good is going to happen. If you take the nap today, all of a sudden everything is going to fall apart. I've even had women that I've coached who have literally told me that they can't leave their husbands and their children for just a moment to take a time out for themselves because he's not going to change the diaper the way I did and he doesn't know how to stop. It's codependency. If you have a partner that does not know how to parent your children, guess what? You're not in the right situation. Because again, if something happened to you today, wouldn't the people around you have to figure it out? And wouldn't they rather figure it out while you're actually brave enough to vocalize that you need the help right now, as opposed to it being too late, where you are hospitalized, where you are having those dark thoughts? And now everyone's going, well, we didn't know. You know how many times people in my life personally have told me, Meisha, we didn't know you were struggling because you always look so good doing it. You look so good carrying the burdens. We had no idea that you felt that way because we didn't know. Open your mouth. If you are burnt out, open your mouth. Tell the friend, tell the coach, if you're working your 9 to 5, tell the job you need a medical leave, but you have to put it down. You have to take time to rest and rehab yourself. And then you have to start fresh from a space of fulfillment, from a space of having your own cup full that you can now see through the fog and understand what it is in your life that's not serving you, what systems are not serving you, what people are not serving you, and show up.
Wow. I feel like this was a therapy episode. This was just so good. I do have some lightning questions for you.
Let's do it.
So, what are your top favorite tools for either content creation or branding?
Ooh, definitely Canva. Obviously, I feel like everybody's on Canva. Pinterest helps me so much with visuals, like when I'm trying to honestly do anything, even if I'm trying to get like inspiration to create a flyer or visualizing my life or trying to understand like what it is that I want for myself. Pinterest. I would say those are my top 2 that I use often. And if I could throw this in there, honestly, I'd say TikTok. And the reason why I say TikTok is because TikTok is a platform that I historically have not created a lot on, but I do go to it for respite. Like I go to TikTok to get my laugh of the day.
Same.
Feel good. I look at content that like lights me up, and sometimes I am inspired to like create content because I've seen someone do something really cool. So those are my top 3.
Love it. If you had to tell a realtor if they want to do a brand audit of themselves, what's the one question they should ask themselves?
Am I happy? You want to do a brand audit? Am I happy? Am I happy with myself? Because like I said, everything flows from there. And you can't have a brand you can't have a brand or a business if you don't have yourself, if you are not with yourself. So ask yourself, am I happy right now? Am I happy with my life? Am I happy with my business? Am I happy with myself?
Love it. So fill in the blank. If your brand isn't blank, it's forgettable.
Magnetic. If your brand is not magnetic, that's definitely what I would say. If your brand is not magnetic, it is forgettable. Because to me, magnetism is seeing people's passion, it's seeing and feeling their energy. And if you don't have that, then people forget you.
And last, what's your favorite platform right now for lead generation?
Guys, I'm not being biased. EXP.
I know what you're gonna say. Oh, I'm gonna tag Leo in that clip.
Leo, honestly, my lead generation is my network at EXP. I've had more referrals from other agents within EXP, from my groups that I'm doing. Opportunities, like look at this opportunity. This is literally from me being in Fast Forward. I'm not crazy posting right now. I'm not doing any social media specific lead generation right now, truthfully. So EXP, like being able to network and talk to other agents, and I've gotten some really great referrals from other agents at EXP. So,
and on that note, especially connecting with other people, like from other groups, like attending, making sure you're joining those fast forward movements or access or whatever all the other groups are, going to conferences like EXPCon where you can surround yourself with those people, or going to all these different things, and can't wait.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on. Pimp yourself out. Where can people find you? Where can they book to coach with you? Like, give us everything.
Yes, thank you for having me. I am on Instagram, Meisha Honore. It's just at Meisha Honore. My second page is at Meisha Realtor. Same thing with Facebook. It's just Meisha Honore. The best way to book with me is to shoot me a DM, send me an email. So my email is the same. It's either MeishaHonore@gmail.com, or you can do Meisha.honore@exprealty.com. But literally, like, that's the best way to catch me. Or y'all be a creep, look up my business card and just shoot me a text, for real. Like, my phone number across all platforms is literally my personal phone number. I have had people text me and go, hey, I heard you on this thing, or I seen you on this thing. Can we book a call? Can we do this? Can we do that? I'm in the process of, like I said, still recovering from my burnout, but I am still taking clients. I still take private one-to-one clients. And the way that I've been doing that literally is through an email, through a text. I don't have any crazy funnels set up right now. I don't have a landing page set up right now. I took all of that stuff down so I could really focus on making my business and my life a little bit more intentional before I relaunch that. So that is how you can find me. Instagram, Facebook, email, shoot me a text. My EXP people, I will see you at EXPCon. Pull me aside, be like, hey, I remember seeing you here. I love when that stuff happens because it makes me excited to know that I'm reaching.
Have touched that person.
Yeah. It's really cool to like feel and know that your name is being spoken in rooms and that you don't even know. You know, it's cool that people are watching the replay or they've taken value out of this. So yeah, just spam me. I'm very Googleable, if that's a word.
I love it. I'm so excited. I feel like we could have talked for hours, and we probably will continue. And I have already talked about doing, part 2, part 3. She has some very exciting things in the works that I can't wait to see and just see all that she does. So I'm so excited. Thank you again for hopping on, and I can't wait for part 2.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.